With a Scott Stisser, we're tying a John Barr's copper John. TMC 3761 size 14 hook in the vise with a tungsten bead. I'm tying with gel spun 75 denier gel spun thread. I need some real strength here. So I'm going to first tie on my wire. My wire is going to be tied on the underside of the hook so as to be out of the way of my tails, as you'll see here in a second. I'm going to wrap all the way back nice and tight. This is a medium, ultra medium wire Chartreuse. Obviously we're doing a Chartreuse version of this fly. I for some reason have found that it's much easier to tie my biot's tails in one at a time for some reason, and I'm having them curve up, but I'm also doing the one towards me. Seems if I tie that one in first, things seem to work out better. So I'm gonna now measure and make sure that I got them both the same length. Okay, there we go. And now I'm gonna start wrapping forward, leaving the butts of this material in here to make a nice uniform but tapered body over which to wrap the wire being all of uniform diameter. Can be really blah when it's put on a fly unless you do something about the underbody on which you're going to wrap it over. So I'm going to go ahead and make this nice taper for my abdomen, and then I'm going to wrap my wire abdomen. Okay. One wrap right in succession of the other. This is pretty stiff material here, but a 14 is a pretty good size hook too. So anyway, so there we go. We got the wire abdomen wrapped in place. I'm going to go ahead and get some wraps on here to secure it. And then, as you notice in all my videos, I don't like to cut my wire with scissors. It will ruin good scissors faster than anything you can imagine. Alright, next I have there's going to be a double wing case, if you will, or kind of like a split wing case. I'm going to have this mylar go over the top of scud back. So this mylar is Ultra's size 12 copper peacock. I want the peacock to show, so I tie it downward against the hook shank because that's the color that's going to show when we pull everything back over and make the wing case. Alrighty, next we're going to grab goodly amount of peacock herl, about 8 strands or so. Yeah, about 8 strands or so. And then we're going to tie it in, and we're going to do our roping it around or thread like dubbing. This is going to make our thorax, as you can see. Make a nice bally thorax, and then what we'll do is we'll come with our thread and we'll tie that, basically tie that off down inside behind the bead. Okay. Now we'll take some soft hackles that we've prepared to make the legs, and we'll tie them in. Okay. And then we'll pull them to length. Okay, like so. And we'll cut the butts of that material. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay. So we have our legs in on each side. Again, that's pulled nice and tight in so the thread won't show. And we'll pull both our materials over, wing case materials over the same time, and we'll capture it. And you notice I lit a little bit of looseness there so that when I pulled it in like that, you saw it suck down into behind the bead. That was so it wouldn't cut my material. It has a little further to go, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it now. And then when I pull down the rest of the way, it's going to pull all that material down inside so you can't see any thread, which is my intention when I'm tying this fly. There's people who have big bulky thread buildups behind the bead. I just think it's prettier if you don't have that, and don't have to have it if you don't intend to have it. I'm gonna have a whip finish now. There are some flies where people have done that and they've used bright colored. Said, well, what the heck, if I'm gonna have the thread there, I'm gonna make it orange or something to attract the fish, and that's a good idea too. So, but the only thing we have left to do on this fly is to put a little bit of the ultraviolet goo over the wing case, like so, and that actually almost acts like a magnifier on that mylar. It really shines when you have I wonder if this battery's getting dead. And that battery's definitely dead. Doesn't look like my light's that strong. But I'm going to go ahead and cure that up. And there we have it. That's a Chartreuse Copper John. I hope I'm staying in focus here. And as you notice that you don't see a big thread build up behind the bead. Kind of a sexy fly that way. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.